Crimson Clad, and this is CyberBuzz. And so on every Saturday, I talk about tech stuff. Often it is blockchain centric or, disruptive tech, the retro future. This whole show has a bit of a sort of Blade Runner-esque vibe to it. And in the last couple weeks, especially, we've been talking so much about AI. We've been having a lot of fun with, DALL-E come Crayon, I think it's called now. And the long and the short of it is we've gone through all sorts of topics like, AI being able to produce pretty much anything, anytime, anywhere. When we were talking about image generation, we were talking about the pros and cons of that. And then we did a couple weeks where we were talking more about some of the scary stuff that comes along with text generation, with voice generation, with video generation, all of the stuff that comes with deep learning and these great friggin' tools we have, but also some of the very tech dystopian aspects of having them developed and how they're making our lives better, but they're also definitely laying groundwork for making our lives worse. So today I thought, since I have lovely people here, and I see Blue's even hopped in. Woof, nice. You can hang out wherever you want. So the Twitch is absolutely is a good place to hang out, and I know a lot of people choose to do that. But we're also live on Vim TV, which is my favorite block-powered solution, Theta TV, Trovo as well. So you know what? Hang out wherever you want. But yes, officially am a Twitch affiliate now. I don't really know what that means other than you can subscribe. That's a bonus. Maybe that means that I will be banned even more quickly now because I do all the things that Twitch doesn't like, but you like them, and that's what matters. So today I thought, Uncle Bonehead, if you keep an eye out, the last couple AI videos have been posted to the YouTube. They are really great talks. So, if you're looking for something to entertain you at a time when you are, just needing some background noise, that's what you got to go for. Now, with all that being said, I thought we'd move away from that this week because, of course, that's all we've been talking about. And, a lot of my listeners and viewers and whatever usually are from around the Hive ecosystem. And we kind of ebb and flow on how much we talk about Hive. It depends whether or not I've got, a tech topic or people have asked questions. Hi, Bloomrock. You didn't know that I did a Saturday show. Well, look at you. You just turn up and here I am. Yeah, absolutely. Happy after Bastille Day and after Canada Day and before US 4th of July for whoever is here. Twitch is one of those things that I make it available because people love it. I don't know how to work it, use it effectively. Anybody that wants to be in control over there, shoot me a message. I will happily make you a moderator or whatever because I don't know what I'm doing, but I did enable it. And apparently now you can slap stickers onto my face, which, like I said, if that gets a little too hinky and weird, if that gets too out of control, I'm going to take it away. But we'll have to see how she goes, right? Absolutely. Okay, so with all that being said, and to be fair, I don't even know how to do this. Apparently, somebody will be able to just pick free stickers and smash them on my face or pay for bits. You know what? I don't know. I'm not worried about it. But what I want to do today is I want to talk a little bit about some stuff that's been going on around the Hive blockchain. I want to open her up to questions. And of course, I'm just going to play a lot of synthwave because the thing about the summer months is full force radio starts bumping again. People are ready to party in the warm evenings and the late nights. But summer days, Saturday, those summer nights. What is it? Summer days. Ignoring Crimson Clad. Yeah, no, you've got things to do on Saturdays. So usually the Saturday shows in the middle of the summer for North America, they get a little quieter to start. I'm going to pick up doing some tweeting and letting people know, but that's what I want to talk about today because governance stuff, there's always some good reminders, and we're coming up on a couple of years of Hives and you have, the stickers apparently show up on the overlay. You can actually just choose to cover my face with a sticker on Twitch apparently. And you know what? I would understand if that was the place that you were headed. If you were kind of I don't know about that. I would totally understand. But yeah, to be quite honest, I mean, I don't know. Apparently I can even run ads in Twitch right now, and that feels gross. So we're definitely not going to do that. Because apparently it's like $3 an ad. I don't know. We're gonna play it by ear, but I certainly didn't attempt to do any of this to feed you guys ads. It's one of the reasons that I love decentralized technology. It's one of the reasons that I'm always looking for places like Vim TV and all the rest. Is I want you to have a lot of choice, and I don't want you to be stuck in places that are these sort of centralized cesspools that do a lot of work to make sure that they control you. Now, if you're not really a blockchain person, that's okay, no problem. But one of the things that I kind of wanted to lead off as I kind of get a chance to throw on a track, get you guys in a synth wavy mood, get you guys a little bit jamming for your Saturday morning / Saturday afternoon, is talk a little bit about some of the governance stuff that's going on and some of the changes, because I've seen a lot of confusion around that. So I thought I'd touch base briefly on that. And then I thought I could maybe talk about everybody's favorite topic, which is, of course, parties and everything in between. So you guys know the chat really is what drives the show. So if you guys literally just want to hang out and shoot the shit and be dumb with me, I'm so on board with that. Dumb is definitely something I can handle. It's definitely an intrinsic part of me that I can do good things with. Dumb is my wheelhouse. So I started off the show with a track by Essenger. If you're ever here for the countdown, I usually play some music at the start of the show. It often gets cut out of the replays, but remember, anything that I play on this show goes immediately to the Spotify, and I have a Full Force Radio page. I'll be building a CyberBuzz page, because that way you could just fire over there, find the music you want, take what you like, leave the rest. If you like the Crimson Clad part and dump the music, A++. If you're like, oh my God, Crimson Clad, please just pick some more synth, because just shh, then that's fine too. So while I'm getting prepped for talking about some of the blockchain stuff and kind of getting us into the mood today, I thought I would play a little bit of music. So while we're doing that, I am going to play a track by Limatos. So, Bloomrock, knowing where you are, Limatos is an awesome little sort of synthwave tech ambient duo out from your way, and they play around there very often. I think the last time I saw them was at not the SAC, because the SAC is the alcohol, but there's downtown, there's something, and it's sort of like the something community center, and it's, I don't know, the SAC or the BAC or the Block or the MAC or I don't know, you guys, everything's an AQ in Quebec. But that's the last time I saw them live. They were fantastic. So I'm going to share them with you. La mer des possibilités, a sea of possibilities. Yeah? That's what blockchain is. That's what CyberBuzz is all about. All of this weird stuff that's happening around you right now. Tech is evolving. The world is changing. And yet somehow we're still so caught up in this idea of what the future looked like to us in the 80s. It is a cool place where art and technology intersect. My name is Crimson Clad. This is CyberBuzz Radio. We'll go for 2 hours. I'll play you a lot of great music and hopefully some fun chat. And I guess celebrating this thing that's happening. Do you need a chance? Do you need any excuse to celebrate? No, you don't. Do what you want. Let's see if we can actually make this work. Yes? No. Yes? Quiet intro is really quiet. Come on. There it is. All right, there you go. Check it out. Some new Limatos. Let's hop back over to our camera screen. Hi, guys. Pop Office here. More people are hopping in across all of the streams. I'm stoked to see you. Welcome to CyberBuzz Radio. My name is Crimson Clad, and on every Saturday around this time, we talk about disruptive technology and all sorts of retro future stuff that's going on around the internet and about some of our favorite little corners. So a lot of people find me through a streaming service called Vim TV. And Vim TV is a Hive blockchain powered solution. But there are many ways and places you could find me. You know, one of the things we talked about earlier this week that made me still think a little bit about all the changes that are happening in our sort of retro future world right now, is the fact that there is, oh gosh, let me turn this fan down. Whew. There was this period in the 90s where we wanted everything to be translucent. And a lot of the time on this show, we talk about future design. We talk about retro future. We talk about future design. We talk about a bunch of shit, to be quite honest. And there was this period coming out of the 80s where we went from pastels to completely clear. We wanted clear technology. We wanted clear computers. We wanted clear pagers. We wanted clear shoes. We wanted clear drinks. And so I was throwing this out there as we were doing our Canada Day special over on Full Force Radio, that clear Pepsi is making a comeback. Pepsi Crystal. Do you guys remember this? Is this a thing that ever kind of showed up in your life? Because this still, to me, kind of embodies this idea of retro future. Is all of the things coming out of the 80s and going into the 90s, we were trying to make drinks that were cooler and more space-aged, and foods the same way. And, you know, now we look at our retro future design. Whenever you think of something like Blade Runner or any of the sort of classic retro future entertainment models out there, everything is always super high tech. You know, they've got some weird drink that comes out of a squeezy pouch. Yeah, well, now we do fucking Capri Sun. We made those up, you know, or serving things in strange ways. It's always some sort of gimmick to let you know, like, oh, this is from the future. Well, apparently we needed some future, and I won't harp on this too long, but it cracks me up every freaking time that I see this. And people on the on the Thursday show seem to think it was quite entertaining as well. So yeah, believe it or not, Canada is heading back to the past and has put, yes, I'm from the future, but apparently half the stuff that we really want, that we think is future centric, is actually from the past. So I'm throwing this out there one more time because it fits this show too. And anytime you think of the retro wave or vapor wave or synthwave aesthetic, it is still sort of this, like, we grab little bits and pieces of the 80s and 90s and kind of cram them into palm trees and Lamborghinis and neon lights and rain on the pavement and strange technology wearables and odd consumables. And here's Canada just bringing back Crystal Pepsi. So go fish. Maybe we really are just, we're that caught in the past. It's entirely possible. Oh, Lord. Okay, yeah, Blue's not a fan. So listen, I did mention that I was going to talk a little bit about Hive stuff today. So I'm going to quickly put a tweet out there, and we'll talk a little bit about governance, because governance around Hive and around blockchains in general is one of those things that obviously it's amazing when you can forget about it. And it's also amazing when you can participate. And this is one of the sort of absolute joys of a functioning system. And so this is something that I guess when you compare it to the world that we live in now, what kind of systems of governments have impact on your life? Obviously, we know government, right? There is somewhere out there on your behalf, some old white men, some old white women, some middle-aged people of just enough color to kind of spice things up. There's probably a governing board somewhere that has been elected on your behalf, whether or not you've participated, who will abso-fucking-lutely send you to jail if you don't pay taxes. That is probably, for most people, the most important / annoying governance board in their life. Or, you know, the only interaction with governance you have is, well, I could go vote, but I also know that my vote means nothing. And that the world has conspired to make voting completely useless. There are governing bodies in many other places that you probably have a more healthy relationship with. Now, whether that is you have a hobby, you are, you know, on a sports team, you have, you know, a community or a neighborhood kind of governing body, there are a lot of other takes on it. We always think of big government, but we don't always think of sort of the more healthy ways that we get together as a community and we decide on rules for ourselves. Now, one of the things that we've always talked about when we talk about Hive and we talk about blockchain in general is we talk about, okay, well, The software is the rules. When we pick the software that makes up the blockchain, when we decide what program to run, we are deciding the rules. And what ends up happening is the more people that run the software, and in the case of DPoS on Hive, the more stake put behind representatives running the software. That is how we allocate our choices. That's how we pick the rules that we currently abide by a community. And it doesn't mean we have to wait for election time. It doesn't mean that we have to kind of jump through all of the crazy hoops that somebody who, let's say, potentially doesn't have any blockchain in their life, has to experience. So this has come up a lot in the last sort of week or so, because finally over the last year, we implemented something that is akin to sort of a vote decay or a vote expiration. Now, if you're not on Hive and you don't involve yourself in blockchain, this is probably really boring, and I'll try and kind of balance it out for you. But if you are around Hive, I kind of want to remind you that governance is what you want it to be. You can absolutely participate, and you should. You know what I mean? You absolutely should, because here is a space where you actually have the potential to shape something. But one of the beautiful things about Hive is that it does have a DAO mechanism. It has the DHF. It has a payment mechanism. We do have a governance system where block producers are chosen by your votes and by stakeholders inside the system. And we do sort of have enough history and enough battle testing now that whether or not you want to participate, the blockchain runs, the system does work. Now, arguably, people are going to have different opinions on how well it works, but the reality is for 5 years, for 6 years now, going into 6 years, this chain has been solid. It is the longest running social blockchain. And it's fascinating to see, because people thought, man, oh man, vote decay, they don't want that. Those witnesses, they don't want that because they're so used to their power. And yet, as we've moved into this period of being Hive, as we've moved away from the legacy blockchain, where there was a lot of influence and a lot of shape coming out of the company that was running things, right? Like, we know that the Steam blockchain was heavily influenced by Steam and Inc. And a lot of the choices on what to code and what to put into blockchain software came directly from their guidance, which was logical. It was at the time, and the way the relationship worked and everything else. But, with the creation of Hive, the goals of this blockchain have changed, right? They've changed a lot. The whole reason that Hive was created was because we didn't want one single company or one single CEO. We didn't really love the idea that, we just kind of left it all up in their hands. That's the easy way of doing things. And we tried it and we blew it. And so the whole community kind of picked up and said, that's fine, but that's the direction that we're not willing to go. That centralized direction, this place where we thought we had the ability to help shape something magical that we're all a part of, that it turns out, wow, we really don't, and they would 1000% throw us under the bus for a bit of cash. And thus Hive was created. So, you are here, maybe. You are learning about this blockchain, or you're, a deep OG on this blockchain. And governance is a topic that could go either way for you. You could say, well, you know what? Here's the cool thing. I lived through one of the most historic blockchain splits of all time. We were literally the first blockchain to fork away from the previous legacy chain and to eclipse its value. And we still are that chain, that fork that ended up being worth, if you're going just by a token to token basis, Hive is still worth, if you like still measuring things in fiat, that's Hive. But so much more than that, a complete shift of the social dynamics, while not really changing a lot of the technology off the bat, and shaping the things that we did change in the technology to reflect these sort of social values that we have, as a community, wanted. And the biggest thing was, we want to stay truly decentralized. We want to work towards that in everything. We want to take all of the benefits of decentralization, and we want to work towards those with the tech. Things that don't Yeah, so Blue, just kind of throwing in on this, Blue's got a great comment here. The longest running social blockchain sounds a little funny. And I just recently came across this thing out of the Polycub docs. The Hive-backed dollar is one of the world's oldest stable coins, which is pretty wild. Yeah, it's funny because we just don't get talked about a lot. And, a lot of that comes with decentralization. This is a struggle that we haven't really balanced out well. And I promise we won't dip too deep into it. But it is crazy. There were a lot of firsts around Steam that then kind of transitioned over to Hive and became even more magical. But it is funny, isn't it? We've been here for 5 or 6 years, most of us, and we really haven't recognized these sort of super fucking special place that we've created. So when we Stevie number one, that's what we thought, didn't we? For a long time, people who discovered Steam kind of got caught up in it and realized like the potential here is wild. We love this. And then everything happened and we thought, okay, well, the potential's still here. But how do we take it to the next level? And the next level is like, fine, we'll just go make our own blockchain with hookers and blow. And here we are. So I swear we actually had a reason for starting to talk about this. And so for the people who just come for the synths, I promise we will do a lot of music breaks today. Don't you worry. But the reason that I kind of wanted to bring this up is because if you choose not to vote in governance, that's okay. You don't have to. One of the things that I talk about a lot when I talk about Hive, when I go to conferences, when I do AMAs, when I talk about Hive, I was going to say Hive on the whole, but maybe that's going to get taken rudely. When I talk about Hive on the whole, one of the sort of best things about it is I get to remind people of something called voluntarism. And I bring this up a lot because this is not just a blockchain topic. This is not just a tech topic. This is a sort of life philosophy topic. Voluntarism is the idea that you do everything voluntarily, that you are not being forced or coerced, and that no one can make you do something unless you consent. Consensual sort of participation is the holy grail. It's what we want from people, right? I mean, think of a place, a time, a you, where everything that you're doing is something that you want to do. And that, you literally have a technology that backs you. That, hey, Huday, good to see you. That literally backs you and says, okay, only you can do this. You hold this key, you turn it, the thing you want to do, you have done it. Period. Nobody else has those keys. Nobody else can make that choice. Not one person, one entity, one government, anything. It's true voluntarism. And it ties a lot into sort of Hive community and governance in a lot of ways that I think people kind of miss out on sometimes. Voluntarism in your life, it's a cool thing. You should strive towards it because it's about making smart choices for yourself and being happy. Who doesn't want either of those things? But when we come to sort of a decentralized space, into technology or to blockchain, voluntarism becomes so much more important. And I want to talk a little bit about this with governance, and I want to talk about vote decay, and I want to talk a little bit about that stuff so that we could kind of give Hive a little bit of kudos, but also if you are a Hive user, to kind of remind you of what can I be doing, what should I be doing, do I want to do any of it, do I want to just ignore it, what do the consequences of that look like? Yeah? Most of you know, but it's good to always have these chats. It's good to always have these talks. So I'm going to play a quick track. We're going to do some more grooving to some synthwave. Right? Yes. Get your Saturday going. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then afterwards, we'll literally just talk about partying and meeting people from the community, whether that's sort of Crim's community, the wider Hive community, blockchain in general, just a remember that there's always a reason to celebrate. And yes, Huday's mentioning, I hope I had a great Canada Day. Well, I'll tell you what. I sure did. Thursday night, if you were here for Full Force Radio, it was the Canada Day Eve, and we played a bunch of hoser metal, all Canadian bands, all loud. It was so much fun. And then, yes, yesterday I spent some time outside, and I just kind of got to appreciate all of the wonderful things around me. And I know that it is the Americans' turns coming up soon. So listen, It's all good in the hood. I'm going to play you guys some fun music. We're going to keep talking about this idea of voluntarism and governance in the blockchain space, in decentralized spaces. I'm going to make a tweet to remind people that we're doing this, but if not, you can always catch this on the replay over on my YouTube. And I'm going to kind of try and make a solid effort to kind of keep all these things going because, yeah, not recognizing that you're an affiliate and not taking advantage of some of the tools that people really love and use to connect with you. Bad DJ. Bad streamer. Bad at everything. That's me, but you're still here, so you know what? We'll take it. All right, so let us play a quick track while I figure some of this stuff out. I'm going to play something by Dead Astronauts because I haven't played Dead Astronauts in a while. They're not really what we would think of as synthwave when we're kind of looking for that super chill, driving down the highway with your wraparound Pit Viper or I don't know, Pit Viper predecessor shades on. But they've got a very sort of blunt techno edge, and it always does. I know their name is Dead Astronauts, but that's exactly what it reminds me of. It reminds me of like techno pop from space, and it's a good fit for the show. And fuck you, I play what I want. So you guys can dance to this. I'll do a couple more little tricks and tips and tasks while that is playing, and then we'll come back and we will chat a little bit more. I hope you guys are having lots of fun. My name is Crimson Clad. I've got you for another hour and a half here on MSP Waves for CyberBuzz Radio. All right, there you go. A little bit of Dead Astronauts. All right, so let's hop over here. Huday's bound. Okay, so actually Huday just reminded me of this too. Apparently, I can pick new emojis. Oh, Patient Zero looks just like me. Look at my big sort of like meat. That's fine. Don't even worry about it. Hey, Ron just wants me to say his name. Hey, McDaddy. Bonehead doesn't even matter. Don't worry, man. The replays are always available over on YouTube. But I have to say, Patient Zero, of course, is continuing the AI generation, and this one's pretty good. It's wearing a red tank top. It's got the hair. It's got the headset. The hands look like shriveled nut sacks. It's throwing the double thumbs up. I will say the AI doesn't know how to make real hands yet because it's going like this, and they look like big sort of. It hasn't figured out individual fingers, so it just defaults to ball sack. Yeah, replays aren't always as fun as live, but hopefully you'll find something out of them and have a little bit of fun nonetheless. So you guys keep working on that. Good old crimson clad nut fingers. It's, yeah, something like that. So listen, what we started talking about before the break, but what we started talking about after the break is Huday's been throwing down some like amazing twerk emojis in the chat. So one of the things that comes along with Twitch that I didn't know and had forgotten, but now that I am an affiliate, is we can have custom emotes. So I kind of wanted to talk to you guys. I don't know how many I get, maybe 3. We should probably make a crimson clad emoji and maybe like one of each of the dogs. I don't know. So I'm throwing that out there to you guys first. The Saturday crew is the start of the week, and then the Full Force of Radio shuts it down after. So, hey, Crim! Hi! Hello! Everybody's starting to say hi. Hi, Mariano. How are you? So yeah, we can do that now. We can do that. And apparently, the other thing, I'll throw it out there, and it's because I'm learning it all on the fly. Yes, this Crimson Clad 1000% looked like she played with some fireworks on the 4th of July and did not practice safety. Real talk. But so I will on Theta, their NFTs. Yeah. And so Theta is another one that I totally have to, that I really have to start understanding because there's so many tools and places that people want to watch. I don't love Twitch. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really don't love it. But I do know that most people watch there. And that's fine. Not shaming you. But so what I want to do is I want to start of like really capitalizing because I know Theta is also blockchain based. And so NFTs and community drops over there are a lot of fun. Vim TV, gems are part of the blockchain ecosystem. my goal is not necessarily to drag money out of you guys, for sure. But I will say that spending the amount of time that I do per week, 4+ hours per stream, by the time it's all done, said and done, and there's so much cremojis. Oh no. We could use that one, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like it's too nice looking, and you guys usually don't look nice things. But so before we get caught up in this, the reality is I spend probably a solid 15 hours a week or more on streaming on top of everything else. And I want that to be sustainable so I can continue to make streams better and to have more fun with the community. So I will say, apparently if you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free Twitch subscription. If you want to do that, please do. That'd be great. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I think I get like $0.01 a month or something like that. But hell, Rome wasn't built in a day. Now, with that being said, throw that shit out. We're not building Rome. We're building a new decentralized ecosystem. Before the break, we were talking a little bit about voluntarism and governance on Hive. And that's one of those things that, to me, I find really, really important. It's a fascinating and awesome thing that if you want to participate, you can. If you don't want to participate, you don't have to. And, unlike a lot of sort of other places, you're not forced to participate. And for the longest time, there was some concern that people who weren't participating were skewing metrics. And I think that's a fair sort of take on it. So let me just quickly get this going here. There, clicky clackies for everyone. Thank you, Bellamo. Good to see you. So here's the deal. One of the sort of biggest things in governance in the real world is you have to participate. They want you to participate. They're going to force you to find ways to participate. And around the blockchain, nobody can force you. We just mentioned that before the break, right? We were talking about how, blockchain governance is meant to be voluntaristic. It's meant to be that you consensually have decided to come and hang out and take action around the blockchain. And if you want to vote on something, if you want to vote on a governance proposal, you want to, take part in the DAO, or you want to vote for a block producer or whatever, you hold your keys and you could choose to do that. But one of the big questions from before was, well, blockchain ecosystems, for the most part, are much smaller than real world ecosystems. There aren't as many people around the blockchain. Hi, King Samuga. You have a cool name. Hey, man. So here's the deal. How do you kind of find ways to get people impacting governance in a smaller community? And how do you mitigate the fact that, if I can't make someone do something, I also can't necessarily make them undo something. There are some plus sides and downsides. Now, if you've been here a long time, one of the biggest things was we have a smaller community. And in some cases, we have some stakeholders who have a lot of stake. And we don't know why they vote the way they do. We don't know anything about them. They're going full OPSEC. They're full anonymous. They don't post. They just stack. And they make decisions in the background. And there was a big one on the previous legacy blockchain, and he's still around, but there was a big one called Freedom. And this was something, Freedom, Pumpkin, there were a bunch of big accounts, but for people who don't know Hive, this doesn't matter. The situation is what matters. You had somebody that you simply don't know what they want impacting governance votes. I'm going to tell you why that's a good thing. And we'll go from there. But yeah, okay, Hypatia, great point. One of the nice things about ecosystems that exist on blockchains and like Hive is that, yeah, they are smaller. And in a lot of cases, you actually have the ability to make some of these connections. Like, I am not a consensus witness anymore. I think we dropped out of the top 20. But I'm a witness. So, if there's something that you want to talk to me about, well, hey, you can literally jump on my Twitch stream and we could talk about it. Or you could jump on my Vim TV, or you can send me a message on the blockchain, or whatever it is you want to do. And you can do this with real world governance systems. But let's talk a little bit about this sort of idea and what was happening on the legacy blockchain and why it's good and it's bad. Now, you may have heard, if you've kind of been around the crypto space, you may have heard a term called Bitcoin is for enemies. what the fuck does that mean? And in some ways, is for enemies sounds like it should be a negative, right? I don't want enemies. What? No, I don't want something adversarial. No, like what? I don't know. That's intimidating. I don't like it. But let me explain to you for a second why it is kind of magical and how we've kind of found some checks and balances in the Hive ecosystem. So on the legacy blockchain, back when we had Steam, we had these big accounts that would vote with fat stacks that they were holding onto. They were pillars of the blockchain economy, but nobody knew why they voted. Nobody had any clue. Nobody knew who their identity was. They just did what they wanted, and nobody could influence them to do anything different. Nobody could tell them not to. And in fact, if you think about that from your own standpoint, yeah, that sounds good. I don't want people to push me around. I want to be able to do whatever I want with my, my wealth that I've saved, that I've gained, that I've stacked, that I've earned, that I've bought, that I've sold, that I've traded, whatever. I don't want anybody to impact that. The idea that Bitcoin is for enemies or crypto is for enemies. Think about whether or not something is truly decentralized. This comes back to, could someone take away your stuff and do something bad with it? Could your enemy get an advantage on you by taking something from you? And the answer is no. But the answer is also that you have the same power in the blockchain. Krim looks hot today. I am definitely on fire. I know my face is bright red. It's so hot in here in Vancouver. And I do have a little baby fan that I blow in between when the songs are playing, but it's really loud when I blow it into my microphone. So that's the problem that I have right now, is like, that's a lot. That's a lot for you guys to hear. So as cool as I look with my hair blowing in the wind, like some kind of really like the third or like sixth choice. Well, part of that's my lighting too. My lighting's up here. I'll move it so that it's down a little bit lower, but I'm really flushed. But yeah, I'm like a sixth choice model callback. They're like, oh, that girl's really stupid. Just, ooh, stand back there. But yeah, it's terrible. So, see, I know. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Talk about governance. Hot. The idea that you can do something with your wealth, your stake, that you can participate in governments, you can make whatever choice you want, and no one can make you undo it, is very valid. The idea that someone else can do the same thing and you can't impact them, you can't stop them, it's voluntary, is very, very, very important. The idea that two enemies whose entire purpose was to, fuck up the other person or steal from the other person in this blockchain ecosystem could not do that. They could both have their say. They could both make the choices that they wanted to with their own stake, that their own key allows. But when it comes down to it, that's it. And the ledger is there to keep everybody honest. And that's the part that's fascinating. So the ledger, when we talk about how much do you have, how much is yours, how do we know who's got what, who do we have to trust with that ledger? That's the magic part of blockchain, isn't it? Is, if we don't trust Crimson Clad's version, let's pull from everybody else's version and let's see if everyone agrees. And if everyone agrees, then we know we've got consensus. Excellent. Hey, El Gecko. So when it comes down to governance on Hive, we know that if you wanted to, you could make the most unpopular, ridiculous governance choices and no one could stop you. That's valuable. Now, maybe it's not valuable if those are the choices you make, but the fact that you can is important. In a world today where so many centralized bodies, where so many alphabet agencies, where, the regular bank can constantly push you around, it is incredibly meaningful to be a part of an on-chain community that you can choose. Yes, I am going to vote how some of this money is distributed today, or no, fuck you guys, absolutely not. Or yes, I'm going to cast votes for witnesses because I'm interested in that part of the process. Or no, I really don't care. Fucking leave me alone. You can do whatever you want. And that aspect of voluntarism is super, super important. Now, before we kind of get into the next aspect of it, and that is, what happens if blockchain is forever? What happens if somebody dies? What happens if somebody loses a key? How do we make sure that these choices have checks and balances without sort of stomping on somebody's right to do what they want, that voluntarism? How do we support that voluntarism and also kind of make sure that we support a healthy ecosystem? And that's what I want to talk about, because it's come up a lot, and it's going to be coming up a lot over, basically the next year now. We've hit a threshold on the Hive blockchain. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but of course we're going to play a little bit more music. It's hot. I'm going to pull this lighting down so I don't look quite so roasty, toasty, crispy, but trust me, I'm pink nonetheless. My name is Crimson Clad, and this is CyberBuzz Radio. On Saturdays, I play synthwave. Now, it's a crapshoot what you're going to get in turn, from the chat. Like, for the last couple weeks, we have been talking about nothing but dystopian AI technology. We've been talking about how to fool facial recognition. We've been talking about, how every chatbot the internet's ever invented ends up turning into basically something weird like a sex Nazi, because that's how the internet works. We've been talking a lot about the absolute terror that is some of the capabilities of even Amazon's voice recognition system. And last week, the replay will be going up today, actually. Or no, it's up. The replay is up. You will find it there. Last week, we even talked about how Amazon wants to make Alexa be able to speak in anyone's voice that you want, including dead people. All it needs to do is hear 1 minute or less of someone speaking, and your Amazon devices can mimic someone, anyone saying something, anything. So sometimes we talk about that, and sometimes we talk about Hive-centric stuff, because that's a blockchain that I love, that I'm heavily involved in, and that many of you guys are as well. So, 50-50. If you don't like where a show's going, jump in chat and say so, and we'll go from there. Yes. So Bonehead, we will absolutely talk a little bit about that after this next track as well, because that is you fell victim to one of the classic blunders. I can't do a Vizzini, I can't do a Sean Wallace, but imagine that I could. The classic blunders, copying and pasting. We'll talk a little bit about that after the break too, because boy, oh boy, that's one of the scariest things on the planet. Okay, what should we do? Let's play some more music. I played you guys some Dead Astronauts. I played some Essenger. I played some Lamatos for the other Canadians on the other side of the country. So let's do some really classic synthwave. Let's do something by Street Cleaner. It's called Neon Horizon. My name is Crimson Clad. CyberBuzz Radio airs on mspwaves.com. You can find me streaming live pretty much anywhere. And of course, you can always watch the replays after. So if you're not here right now, you're watching from the future, in the past. You're watching the past in the future? I don't know. Time is a flat circle. How did we get here? Who put this pudding in my pants? All right. Yeah, a little bit better, right? Neon Horizon by Street Cleaner. Yes, I'm still very hot. I'm still very pink-cheeked, but that should have fixed it a bit. I just kind of took the extra lighting that was over there and kind of pulled it down a little bit. So there you go. There you go. So listen, lots of people hopping in, lots of people chitty-chatting all over the place. I'm glad to have you. My name is Crimson Clad, and this is CyberBuzz Radio. So... We were just saying, Toggle Bonehead, that, hey, parachute pants are back in style. They're called harem pants now. Go fish. Where are the doggos at? This is too hot for them up here in this room. They're downstairs with the fan on. They're just staying a little bit cooler. This is unfortunately a little hot, but normally I do bring them up here. Lou will often sit on the couch and hang out with me. And definitely this upcoming week for Full Force Radio, we will be doing a show entirely in honor of Lulu. It's going to be a heavy metal show about dogs. Fuck it. I don't care. I mean, I do still care, but at the same time, it's my show. And if I want to make a show about dogs, I will. So, hey, listen. And lots of you guys hopping out here. Balama said play some Afro beats. It's not my wheelhouse, but this show, like, I do kind of stick inside one niche. And then on Thursdays, I stick inside a totally different niche. So, you're not going to get any on this show. Just happens to be the way it goes. I pick the tracks usually before the show starts. And everything is very 90s, 80s, retro, cool guy driving a Lambo kind of sounds, or like, I don't know, space or Lambos. That's what you get here. What kind of doggo is Lulu? That is a good question. Lou is a really interesting mix of dogs. She's part Anatolian Shepherd. It's like very similar to most shepherds out there, German shepherds and whatnot, but also part Kangol, Kangol. They are often called Turkish sheepdogs. They are gigantic. They have heavy neck skin because they are bred for fighting wolves. She's very big. She's got long ass legs. She got a thick old body. She got big old chompy teeth. She's got a hangy hound dog face, and that is specifically because she is bred to fight other animals. And she is not a fighter. I wouldn't want that to happen, but yeah, she's a beautiful, weird-looking dog. She's a strange mix. Sometimes she'll come walking into the room and she'll jump up on the couch here, and her neck will be like, and it's so weird to see, you guys. It's so weird. It's so strange. She has more neck. She has like enough neck that you can almost wrap her neck skin around her neck a second time. Weird looking dog. But she's a babe. We've had her for a year. She has been a joy to have in my life. Also a huge challenge. Honestly, teaching an abused dog that love is possible and helping an animal that is terrified of everything live a functional life can be really frustrating. Over the last year, there have been a ton of challenges, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So yeah, Full Force Radio is going to be exactly heavy doggo metal, motherfuckers. But here today, we have been talking about Hive a lot, and we haven't done that in a while. So I kind of thought we'd get there because we were talking a little bit. Belleville, that's amazing. Yeah, Kangol. Also a really a hilarious hip-hop brand. And it's so funny that you say that because the Kangol hat, there was a specific one. It kind of was like a, I don't know, sort of like a little hat that the brim and the top of it would kind of snap together. And so when you had it on, they were fuzzy for a long time too. They had the logo. Or Kangol also did bucket hats. This is as 90s as it gets. Yes, me growing up, all the popular hot people had Kangol hats. I am 20 years behind the time, and I don't have a hat. I have a dog. Pretend I'm hot and popular. Animal therapy requires time and advocacy. Yeah, straight up. You are not wrong. And it's so good to see you, Jose. Oh my gosh, you're awesome. Good to see you. So yeah, I mean, today is not about that, but I will kind of speak to it quickly. It is one of the most absolutely rewarding things you can do. Expect to spend a lot of time, a lot of money, expect to get really mad and really sad. And, it's good training for being a better person. And it's good skills for almost anything, for crypto even. You learn a lot of patience. You learn a lot of negotiation. You learn a lot of empathy and compassion. And you learn to communicate in different ways than you are used to. Because if you're a person who's never kind of been around or shared your life with animals, and you don't know how to communicate with an animal, you will have to fucking learn. Because that animal is not just going to get up one day and start talking to you and say, hey, the thing you did last week sucked. They're not going to be able to do that. And you're not going to be able to explain something to them that feels so simple to you. So there you go. People actually did see my tweet. I always forget to tweet. I will make a concerted effort before I go live on streams to do more tweeting, especially because I know a lot of the Hive community is active over there. So, dog update. what we were talking about before the break is we were talking a little bit about the Hive blockchain, and we were talking about governance decisions. We were talking about how cool it is to be able to decide whether or not you want to participate. And we were talking a little bit about the idea of voluntarism and how a decentralized blockchain space really supports that. You don't have to spend your money, send your money. You don't have to move your tokens, or you don't have to do anything, and no one can make you do anything without your keys. And of course, as you move down the line, that extends to governance as well. And, wouldn't that be amazing if something was as effective in the real world as Hive governance? But before we touch on that, Uncle Bonehead pulled a bonehead. And here in chat, or in one of the chats, he was mentioning, I had a little panic moment because I thought I lost my keys. I did a copy and paste. So let's talk a little bit about that for a second. Oh, you like my sound effects? I have a very limited set of them, and every now and again I will pull out a bizarre noise that makes no sense. And for people who aren't watching and are only experiencing the radio through their ears, they will be like, what the fuck is that noise? Why are you doing it? Stop. Ew. But listen, it's the full immersive experience here, so deal with it. Uncle Bonehead said, hey, I copied and pasted a key and I just about shit my pants because I thought it was wrecked. Let's talk a little bit about that. Not to throw him under the bus, but this is something that everybody knows and everybody forgets. So I'm just going to throw it in there for 1 second. A reminder is when you copy and paste your keys, there are a couple of things that you need to remember. And the biggest one, number one, is pebcac. The problem exists between the computer and chair, right? Pebcac. No, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But the reality is when you copy and paste something, that stays on your keyboard. Please, please, please be so careful. It's not that it's not a valid way of doing things, but this is not where I'm going. That's one thing. You will hit copy and paste really quickly a second time and you'll end up throwing your key somewhere you don't mean to, like your memo, like somebody's, Telegram chat. Just always be really careful with that. But no, when you pick up your password, when you pick up a key or a password and you're copying and pasting and it doesn't work, there are a couple things that you can remember. And the biggest one is either leading or trailing spaces. This is one of those things that you can't see, that you don't pick up very easily. But if you are freaking out, take a deep breath, double check, open up Notepad and paste that password again and double check. Is there an extra space on the end? Because 99% of the time, 99% of the time, you're going to either pick up an extra space or you're going to pick up an invisible character, because often you're copying and pasting from what is a document that has some formatting, whether it's, I don't know how you keep it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to know because I'll probably cry for some of you, but maybe it's a Word doc. Maybe it's something that has HTML. There are so many things that can impact the formatting of text that you're picking up. So if you're picking up a key that you didn't change and you're copying it and you're pasting it and it doesn't work, don't fucking panic. The first thing to do is open up a Notepad or something like that that's local on your computer that has plain text and paste it there. See, is there a space in front, a space behind, or does a little square box show up? Because sometimes you will actually pick up a character that does not exist. And that's often because of HTML, it's because of Word, it's because of some weird formatting that you did not consent to that you picked up with your copy and paste. It's silly, but it's the truth. So if you are logging in, single sign on one time, you just want to pick up that key and paste it. Always remember, just do that with your posting key. Don't do it, Yes, exactly. Weird ANSI stuff, UTF, it really does depend. It's just how it is. Don't panic. Now, that being said, the other thing to remember is, if you are worried about it and your key is not working, do you know how to check if your keys have been changed recently? One of the most fantastic things about Hive is it's got a plethora of front ends. You can go somewhere, even just like a Block Explorer, and see the last time your keys have changed. So if you are having a fat finger, stupid face moment, which I will not lie, I live in those moments, and you just need to know to calm yourself down, you can go something like Hive blocks or another explorer and just double check when was the last time that key change was. If it isn't right now or in the last little bit and there's no change, your key will still work. We just have to figure out. We just got to troubleshoot. It's the easiest way to calm your soul in a panic situation. All right, listen, that's not what we were talking about today. We were talking about Hive governance. And the reason that it came up is, we've kind of been taking a meandering path to get here. We've been talking a little bit about how, it's fantastic that on Hive, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to. And if you do want to participate, you can. The reason that this has come up is because, as before the break we were mentioning, on the legacy chain, there was always this worry that these big stakeholders who are quiet, they didn't move often. We didn't know why they made the choices they made. We weren't sure if they were even still alive. They made choices and then they never changed them. And there was always this idea in the back of our heads that, well, what if they died? What if they lost a key? What if they never voted again? And knowing that our ecosystem is a little smaller and there aren't as many people in this ecosystem, should we worry? Will they always have an invisible hand influencing things? And in the past, and on the legacy blockchain, that was the case. We always worried about it. We always wondered about it. But here we are on Hive, and something indeed has been done. And many of you guys may know this already, and some of you might have missed it. In a previous hard fork, one of the things that happened was a 1-year expiry on your governance voting. Now, this is very interesting because the idea is, your votes don't get shifted to something else or whatnot. They simply, if you go for a year without taking a governance action on Hive, your vote will decay. It will, bloop, it'll go away. Now, some people are going to say that's fair. Some people are going to say, nope, that's not fair. And wherever it shakes out, I feel like it's a pretty good balance. This is something that we always wondered about. Would it really, really change things? Would it be a disaster if those votes lived on forever? Well, now we've been starting to see it. It is now officially past the 1-year point since that has kind of come into play. And so what the concern was, well, shit, that 1 year is going to hit, a bunch of votes are going to expire across the ecosystem because there's a lot of people who just, once the hard fork happened and we became Hive and whatnot, they never did anything. They just decided, nope, I'm good. Everything looks good. That's fine. And so people were worried that their votes were going to carry over. The votes that they brought from the legacy blockchain or whatever the case may be, were just going to stick around forever. So here we are, a couple days after the big day, the first wave of sort of dead votes expiring, and things absolutely did move. And in fact, I'm a great example. My witness, I haven't looked to see who it was, to be quite honest, but my witness, we had a lot of support on Steam. I did a lot of work around Steam, and I would say that was where the first big heavy push came for my witness, and when we first made it to consensus. Here on Hive, it continued. I've always had a lot to do around Hive and whatnot, but when those votes expired, we took a hit. We dropped out of the top 20. So there you go. Right off the bat, we saw some changes. For sure, we saw some of that carried over leverage. That person isn't paying attention anymore. Is it very important that I have to update? It's up to you. So, all right, we'll address some of these comments, but Uncle Bonehead is asking a great question. So since I joined after the hard fork, do I need to do my votes again? The answer is, you do not have to change any of your votes or remake any of your votes if you have made a governance transaction in the last year. What the fuck does that mean? I don't fucking know. And for people who are watching this to learn, welcome. My name's Crimson Clad, and I swear a lot. In official videos, I'm better. But if you have voted on a DHF proposal, if you have voted for a witness, any one of those votes resets the clock for another year. Anytime you do it. So for most people, the things that you do day to day, the general normal stuff that you engage in around the blockchain is enough to keep your counter going. You do not even need to think about it. It's not even important. So I don't bring this up to panic you, but I bring it up as one of those checks and balances, good and bad things. Here we are. We have an ecosystem with governance that is voluntarism based. You have to want to vote for something. Nobody can say, hey, Crimson Clad votes for that witness. Nope. I have to do that. I have to sign that with my key. Nobody can make me. The flip side is I'm only relevant for MMA fans. Oh no, Sean Strickland is. I don't know who that is. You're right. I don't watch MMA. I just proved your point. Lord. So, if you're worried, do I have to redo my votes? Does this come in play for me? I don't know. If you wanted, you could literally only check your votes once a year. If you wanted. He's a potty mouth. Oh, okay. If you wanted to, you could do that. If you wanted to, you could let it go more than a year. All that will happen is your votes will drop off. You don't lose the ability to vote. Nothing changes. It just means that if you have not done anything in a year that is counted for governance, whether that's just voting on the DHF, just voting on witnesses, or some mix of both, you could let them expire. No problem. It doesn't impact your ability to continue participating or to participate again in the future. And if you are actively every now and again casting votes on witnesses or governance issues like the DHF, nothing will change. You won't even notice. You'll never even get a notification. So I bring this up because a lot of people have been asking about it. They're panicking. They're going, do I have to vote for everything again? I didn't vote for anything. I don't know who to vote for. I have a proxy. I don't want a proxy. How do you know if a vote drops off? Great question. So what will happen is your account will show as voting for 0 witnesses and 0 proposals. Now, you probably won't get to that point. Let's talk a little bit about some of the features that are around the blockchain. Hive is cool because you have about a gajillion, which is absolutely an existing scientific technical term, interfaces to use to figure out what the hell you're doing. 2 of the best are PeakD and Hive keychain. And the reason that I bring these up as the best is they have pretty clear messages. Now, eSync probably has one too, but I haven't checked it personally. If you are within a window of your votes potentially expiring, PeakD will show you a little message down in the corner. They'll be like, hey, you got 3 months. Hey, you got 2 months. Hey, you got a month. Keychain will do the same thing. Keychain will say, hey, you had a month and your votes are going to expire. And you can choose. You can choose whether or not you care. You don't have to vote again. Maybe you're like, man, you know what? I'm abstaining for the next year because, okay, no problem. Absolutely no problem. So you'll get warnings on some interfaces if that's going to happen. But, you have every opportunity to do exactly what you want. And that could be to continue to participate or not continue to participate. Now, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to. That's the beauty of voluntarism. And one thing that I can say, not that I'm trying to talk you guys out of not voting, because I think you should vote. I think it's really cool. I think it's a thing that only you can do, and that it has a great impact on your voice in the ecosystem, and go for it. But your choice. If you don't want to vote, one of the nice things about sort of Hive and what I've seen even in this last week is the sky didn't fall when some of these big votes dropped off. Everything else just kind of readjusted and the blockchain went on. And this is where earlier in the show I was saying, Hive is the longest running social blockchain, but it's so much more than that. It's 6 years battle tested and it's had minutes worth of downtime in the past 2 years while Hive has existed, and maybe a day in the last 6 years. Hive is fucking bulletproof in so many ways. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to, get new people here onto Hive. I'm saying it as, for those of us who are here, who have been moving around the crypto space, who have been seeing experiments with decentralized funding, who have been watching various companies and DAOs and governance strategies fail, fizzle out, whatever. This is the real deal. We don't have to say anything. We just exist. Here we are. So, you can take as long a break or as little of a break as you want. The system is still working. People are still voting. And every day there are these ebbs and flows in the system. But I know for a lot of people, they were panicking. They were like, oh my God, all the votes are going to expire and Hive's going to shut down. And the answer is no. So for me, I think it's a fantastic thing. I would love to always see this kind of check and balances in an ecosystem. You you thoroughly have to kind of appreciate the way that things have played out. And, when we did have this worry of, well, blockchain is forever, and some of these votes could literally continue into eternity and have an impact on the way the ecosystem works out. A year is seeming to be pretty good. A year did have impact on the top 20. It did. I dropped right out. But at the same time, it gives people a long time to kind of sit and ruminate on their votes and pay attention to what they've done and then be like, yes, I have voted, and go off and do something else instead. So you have whatever way you want to interact with governance, and you have a lot of warnings if you're worried about, your votes expiring. But where I'm going with this is, if you haven't participated, you should. If you're panicking and you're hearing a lot of conflicting information about voting on Hive, don't worry about it. No problem. You got your keys. You could do whatever you want. And, if you haven't checked out the DHF in a while, or you haven't kind of gone and thought about these votes, consider doing so. It is something that only you can do, and no one can influence how you vote. So go have some fun with it. Check out what's there. See if there's something that represents you and go for it. Now, with all that being said, there is one more thing that I want to address, because it came up in a chat that I was doing in another server for some people. Yeah, time doesn't exist. Oh, you've got a whole explanation. You're saying it's a long sinusoidal wave full of covers. I'm like, man, time is a flat circle. Doesn't matter which way you turn it. It's just trying to experience time simultaneously. Very strange. So here's the deal. A lot of people do ask about proxies. And so where I was speaking in another server the other day, somebody was like, well, my proxy is excellent. I don't understand why you would say that proxies are bad. And I was, hold on. I didn't say proxies are bad. This is a cool part of Hive that you can't necessarily do other places either. And that whole idea of delegated proof of stake, if you want, you can delegate your vote away. We know, as adherents of the blockchain system, and even in today's chat, we've been talking about do it yourself, voluntarism, do only the things you want to do. But for some people, the idea of governance is like, I don't care. I don't care about this person. I don't care about this thing. I don't care about this funding. Fuck this thing. Fuck that thing. Fuck that thing in particular. If that's you, that's okay. No problem. But one of the things that you can do here, if you want, is you could set a proxy. And proxies seem to be a little confusing for people, so I'm going to go over it just really quickly. A proxy is, you are saying, I am proxied to that person over there. Look, right to you. And when I proxy to you, all of the power of my stake will go towards the votes that you make on governance and governments alone. So, proxy voting for governance does not impact any of the social rewards or tokenomics that you have on a day-to-day basis. So don't worry about that. Proxies are, governance is hard or governance is boring and I don't want to do it. However, I like the way you do it, so I am going to copy you. That's what a proxy is. Now, one of the things that people don't necessarily realize is that proxies are not just for witness voting. If you proxy to someone else's vote, you will vote the same witnesses they do with your stake. Cool. Okay. But one of the things people don't realize is governance covers both witnesses and the DHF. Now, if you want to vote on a specific DHF proposal and your proxies are voting for something else, tough titties. You will have to do them by yourself. If you have a proxy, you will also proxy to DHF votes. You can't do them separately. They are intertwined. This is a weird hand motion. I don't know what it is, but that's what it is. So those are intertwined. So, somebody asked me the other day, well, I don't understand. I picked a proxy. I like the witnesses. I trust everything they do. I just want to vote on the DHF. I don't get it. What's happening? You have to do them yourself. If you want to vote on something different than your proxy when it comes to the DHF, you can't proxy. That's the idea. You can proxy at any time you want. You could proxy to any person you would like. You can remove your proxy at any time. So people go, oh, is it bad? Is it good? I don't understand. Okay. Well, then that's no problem. That's fine. But one of the things that I always recommend is if you're new to the ecosystem of proxies, great. Go for it. No problem. Your governance is there. If you if you want to kind of participate in governance on a baby's first level, go ahead. But as time goes on, and as you become more familiar with the ecosystem, I suspect you will get to know people, as Hypatia was saying, or whatever. You'll start getting to know people and you'll want to make some votes yourself. Or maybe you will decide that you want to abstain altogether from all of this fuckery. Whatever it is that you want to do, no problem. Your Hive keys let you do that. So I think that covers off most of the, oh no, don't make me your proxy. I vote in a sort of political fashion by not voting often. I love the DHF, but I find that most of the big projects have great funding and support behind them. So in a lot of cases, I will kind of go out of my way to connect to smaller DHF proposals. And rather even than voting, I will go and I will find out, do you need help? Can I connect you with a funding source? Do you need devs? Can I help you with the process? So in a lot of cases, the way that I view the DHF is I don't think that I would like people copying my decisions for where to spend Hive's money. So is it logical? Maybe not. But so for me, I will go out and I will find non-tangible or other ways to participate that aren't necessarily just sort of a bit of a signal on the chain. And that doesn't mean you should do that, right? Voluntarism. We're going to do things differently. But I'm happy with my witness votes. And you know what? I will say somebody mentioned, well, this is horrible because Crim dropped out of the top 20. Well, that's nice of you to say. But frankly, have you taken a look at Hive's top 20 recently? Have you taken a look at Hive's top 50 recently? It looks good. There are new people and old people. There is the sort of old guard that feel grandfathered in, but there are, people who in the last couple of years who have become just so involved. There is a spread of, dev-centric people and also sort of program-centric people. It's not perfect, but when you look at that list, when you look at sort of the block producers on Hive, especially if you post here or you interact here or you get to know the community, it looks really good. It's awesome, actually. But that doesn't mean there's not more room for improvement. Doesn't mean that there's not more room for more block producers. And one of the coolest things that I hope we'll be talking about soon in the coming months will be to do with, will there ever be? Oh yeah, we'll talk about that too. Will just simply be that it will become easier and easier and easier to run a node. Now, a lot of that has to do with the Hive application framework and HAF and HAFA and all of the things that BlockTrade's team has been working on. This is sort of that one last big hurdle, is we've always known we want to be this crazy scalable blockchain. We want to be this blockchain that can hold whatever type of information and become this repository that powers an incredible number of second layers and beyond. Services and dApps and whatever. If you can dream it up, then Hive can probably power it. We've had some concern in the past where we talk about account history and other plugins on nodes getting bigger and bigger and bigger and needing more sort of physical requirements in terms of your hardware for running a node, whether that node is just to stream blocks for a project, whether that node is going to be an RPC node, whether that node's just going to be a witness node. However you look at it, that's always been one of the things in the back of people's heads is like, these are getting pretty big. That costs a lot of money. How about them apples? So, in the coming months, this is something we'll be talking about a lot, is it's going to get easier and easier and easier to run an effective Hive node on lesser hardware, if you will, less RAM, less everything. And that's super freaking valuable because you want to have participation in a decentralized ecosystem. Yes, I saw your question and I won't ignore it. Keep it in mind is that you've always thought about it, but you've always been like, I don't know, I don't want to do it. I want to participate for the sake of the ecosystem, but I won't make any money. That's going to have to be a personal battle that you kind of struggle with. But what I can say is in the coming months and sort of poising ourselves for growth again, since we're in the bear a little bit, poising ourselves for growth and building in the bear is always really important. And this is one of those things that I think is most important. There should be almost zero barriers for people who want to dive in and learn how to build HiveD from scratch and how to and how to kind of get on board with all of this. it's not going to be lucrative, but the reality is if you are here for decentralized purposes, or you do want to like create or use a surface, hey, corn dog, then this is going to become really important. All right, so we are actually like only half an hour left in the show. So will there ever be more than 30 votes available? And could there ever be more than 30 votes? Is that a thought on the roadmap? So here's the deal. The way that witness voting, we haven't talked about this in a long time, but the way that witness voting works is that you have 30 available votes and there are 20 top block producers. Now, we haven't talked about a block production round in a long time. So on Hive, a block production round is everybody in consensus. The top 20 produces a block, and then one block is produced by a backup producer. And that is somebody from 21 to fucking eternity. They're pulled out of the schedule, randomized, slotted in, block production round, 21 people, 21 blocks, 21 servers. Numbers. Now, the question is, okay, will we have more than 30 votes? Would we have less than 30 votes? Is 30 votes appropriate? And the answer is, I don't know. If it's simply a matter of could, then yes, absolutely. Absolutely, there could be more available. But what I will say is that, anything is possible. Because, of course, all that has to happen is the code must be written and tested, and then run by the consensus witnesses. That's literally all it takes to change the Hive blockchain. You know, it sounds like a lot because we know for many people, they've lived through a hard fork here and they go, it's a lot. And the answer is, yeah, testing, coordinating, getting it going, making sure you don't literally light the entire fucking place on fire with yourself inside it. It is a lot. But from the outside point looking in, it's not that much. Here's a program. I run the program on my server. 19 other people, 17 other people, 15 other people run that program. Ta-da! The program is running. That's the gist of how code changes happen on Hive. It is a very simplistic take, but what it means is that anything is possible. Whatever the top 20 run as a supermajority, depending on what types of changes there are, that's the code. Very, very easy to change. Now, when it comes to numbers, 30 votes, 20 in consensus, 10 votes, it's a tough number, and a lot of debate has been kind of happening around this. And over many, many years, many people have suggested other alternatives. And to be fair, people have pulled it apart mathematically. And in fact, Raycoms is one of my favorite one of my favorites who always looks at governance topics and does sort of some of the math behind voting. And I will try and find some of his posts. But his name is Raycoms, and he has a very cute black cat avatar. And if you're not around Hive, that's not going to matter to you and you don't care. But cats are cool on the internet. Where I'm going with this is 30 votes at the moment seems to be a pretty good balance between agreeing with a lot of who's in consensus, if you want, because you know they're very solid in doing a good job, but also still having leeway to go outside of the top 20 and pick other people too. And I think as long as we have at least this many, we will have people who are taking chances on new witnesses and up-and-comers. If you were to go less than 20, I think we would start seeing a struggle. But it's tough to say. You would have to choose much more strategically, for sure. You would be very hard pressed to kind of choose some of the existing infrastructure providers who are like battle tested and ready, who have spent just ridiculous amounts of money and have secured the chain for years, and also newbies that have great ideas or who have great skills or who are running, awesome setups. So I don't have a good answer for you. My gut feel personally is that 30 is a decent amount. I like the ability to, be able to choose well within the top 30. or dip outside it, and not to feel like, okay, I don't have enough votes to pick the people I want. That's important, right? You should be able to say, God, I know this person is awesome, but also I love this new person. You should be able to do both. And 30 votes kind of allows that. To be fair, you would need someone smarter than me to dive more heavily into the mathematics of it. What do the potential changes look like if you are forced to have more votes, less votes? What does that look like? How does that influence behavior? Right now, what we found is the top 20 is pretty solid, but people can advance in the ranks and do. And we've seen some big upsets of newer witnesses ending up in the top 20. So right now, it's feeling pretty good. And I don't think it's become enough of a topic that that's our real focus, especially now that votes do decay. So there's a lot of different takes on governance, but in this past week, there's been a lot of questions about it, and I hope I've kind of addressed some of them today. I definitely need to play a track. I'm getting a little bit sore, a little bit more here. So I want to give my voice a rest, give your ears a rest, play you guys some fun synthwave, and then we'll be moving into I don't know, the rest of the show. Hey, DDR Freak, good to see you. We've been talking about Hive governance. We've been talking about voluntarism. Today became a very Hive-centric show more than anything. So we will have to kind of come around and see what everybody wants to talk about in chat for the end of the show. And I thought we'd talk a little bit about Hive-centric and community parties, and then we'll throw it down. And next week, I think we'll probably return to tech topics. I'm going to try and do a little bit more jumping back and forth, where we'll have these great philosophical shows, like the AI ones, like the future design, like the times we've been talking about sort of, the relationship between environment and all the stuff that we've talked about. If you want to check out some of these past episodes, I'm biased, but they're a lot of fun. I stream them all on Vim, and you will actually find I make posts for most of these shows. I make them specifically from the Vim platform. Seeing as DDR Freak is here and talking about partners and things like that, I make them from the Vim platform because that way Vim gets some of the beneficiary. So for me, when I'm here streaming inside the Hive ecosystem, and when I'm using things like Twitch and whatever else, that's off to the side, like, yay, Twitch affiliate, whatever. I'm totally breaking all of their rules by streaming other places. Shh, don't tell Twitch. But Vim is one of those places that with my post, I don't necessarily have to go out of my way to do anything other than to set them as a beneficiary, and I make sure that they get a good chunk of my cash because I like what they're doing. So, with all that being said, we'll come back, we'll chat about some of the other stuff that's going on in all of the text from all of the different places. I'm going to play you guys a little bit more synthwave before the show is over. And I'm trying to decide if we should go really up-tempo or what. Maybe, baby. Let's play something off one of my absolute favorite albums. I'm going to play something from Dan Terminus called Heavy Artillery. It's off an album called The Wrath of Code. It's awesome. He's awesome. You're awesome. I know today has been, for some of you who don't do the Hive thing, probably a little less interesting. But for those of you around the Hive ecosystem, I frankly cherish these times that we get to talk about this, because for me, there's a lot going on in blockchain and in Hive in general that I think is very interesting and brings a lot of hope and potential, along with some of the sort of terrifying dystopian downsides. And that's what I want to focus on, and it's what I want to build on. So when you guys are here and we're talking about it, it's a great thing. We will return to our regularly scheduled, the Skynet is awakening and our flying cars are going to catch on fire and drive us into the side of a mountain, and the brain chips and the GMO foods and the everybody's going to be locked in a VR prison, etc., etc., etc. We'll come back to that next week. I love chatting with you guys. If you have an idea for the show topic, go over to my post, make a comment, leave something here, jump in chat, say, Krim, talk about this. And that's what we'll do. Everything is live. Everything is determined by you. Don't ask me. I just work here. YES, Heavy Artillery, an amazing track. Amazing track. All right, so we don't have a ton of time left in the show, but I'm stoked to have you guys here. We have been chatting a whole bunch about Hive today, which is always feels good, right? feels good. So one of the things that obviously also feels good is having a great community around you, and you guys are the bomb. So yeah, I mean, game streams are something that I haven't had a lot of time to do. Hive is terrible that way. Hive has consumed my life. But, you know, growing up and even now, I am very, very much a gamer kid. And yeah, Counter-Strike ate a lot of my childhood. I'm not going to lie. Anytime that I was skipping school, anytime that I was skipping high school, it was to go with my friends down to the local internet cafe. You could pay $7 for 2 hours, and that's what we would do. We would just play Counter-Strike for hours and hours and hours. So, with all that being said, I am trying to working towards potentially, at least on Sundays, doing, oh yeah, absolutely. Peanut, it's your birthday. I hope you have so much fun. I mean, getting a PlayStation is the coolest. Kick your dad's butt at every game. I know it won't be hard, but I'm also rooting for you. Seriously, happy birthday. But yeah, so when I was growing up, gaming was a huge part of my life. And it's so funny that as I got into streaming, the thing that took me into streaming was the Hive blockchain. Teaching about it, you know, chatting with community about it, and the thing that started a live radio career, and now also the conference circuit, the talk circuit, the educational stuff that I end up doing. Hive started all of that. And arguably even like Vim TV started all of that. Yes, she did. And she's gonna kick your butt, old man. But, you know, I don't take that for granted because here I am. And it's so funny to me that as a gamer, I don't stream games. I just don't have the time. And so I'm making a concerted effort to try and put aside time on Sundays to do live game streams. And one of the ones that I'm obviously going to be playing the ever-living snot out of will be Metal Hellsinger. And then we'll go from there. So, you know, I am going to try and get back into that as sort of some self-love and self-care because haven't been able to do it. So we'll see. We'll see. So the last topic for today, my darlings, speaking about fun stuff and for the people who are kicking around and doing whatever it is. And thank you for the beer, by the way, Blue. And speaking of the beer, I am looking forward to having beers with all of you in the future again because big parties are coming. It's not good. Enter the Matrix. Yeah, there are some games. Like I'm actually going back and I am playing... I'm replaying like Fable from the anniversary collections, like Fable 1. And also I am very much enjoying, I'm still playing Skyrim to this day. I've modded the snot out of it. I'm playing Skyrim VR. I am playing still some VR games. I'm really behind. And I'm waiting for Nivalis, which is a beautiful sort of game in the aesthetic of this show that comes from the same people that did a game that we talk about a lot here on the show, Cloudpunk. So yeah, anyways, lots of stuff to play. And the other thing that I really would like to play with more people, oh gosh, is a little space game that I enjoy immensely. That's about outer space exploration and planet terraforming and whatnot. So we'll see. Maybe I can get some of you guys in on it. But listen. Hey, listen. Speaking of gaming references. Beers. Speaking of beers in person and the beer token, that is something that comes up at Hive Fest a lot. I'm just throwing it out there. I will be looking forward to seeing any and all of you at Hive Fest in person this year. I will be going. And I did throw it out, but I'm going to put it out there again because today we've been talking a lot about Hive stuff. I'm bandying about whether or not I'm going to be doing a presentation at Hive Fest because often I speak on behalf of my own projects and teams that I work with, like NFT Showroom. But when I am often out in the world, I am talking to people about Hive. I'm, teaching about Hive. And often I end up talking to exchanges or other, blockchain companies doing AMAs. I am bandying about talking at Hive Fest and doing something that is more of a discussion around community and some of the things that we might need to see happen as a community, as dApps, as builders, as shareholders, as whatever, and doing some more sort of discussion around Hive that is a little bit pump up and a little bit future thinking that has nothing to do with any one project, shall we say, because that's usually what Hive Fest is projects come there and want to tell you about everything that's going on. They want to celebrate what you're doing. They want to get you in on the next new thing. And I'm kind of thinking about doing something overarching Hive, but I do want to discuss sort of what that would look like. So shoot me a message. I would love to hear from each of you. What would that look like? What do you want to hear about? What do you want somebody to pick apart and sort of talk and discuss on stage there? Let me know. And so one of the cool things about Hive Fest is live art has always been at Hive Fest. And one of the things that's very, very cool about it is that if you create art on the chain, at every Hive Fest in person so far, there has been a physical gallery space with those art pieces. In some cases, they're projections. In some cases, they're actually printed on paper and framed up and displayed. In some cases, they are on displays. We have always had a physical section for art. So even though NFT Showroom and the last couple years have been so fun in VR, there will probably be 2 versions of the spaces. I can't speak for Roland. But don't you worry, art will absolutely continue to be a part of Hive Fest. And yes, the last one that I went to was in Thailand, and the art space was beautiful. It was upstairs in this cool little collective. It was part of the pancake breakfast. It was really neat. So I suspect this year it will be a lot of half and half. I think there'll be some digital aspects. I think there'll be some in-person aspects, and I think everybody will be able to participate in one way or another. Jose's asking about how do I perform? To be quite honest, I don't know what performances are going to look like. I do not actually have anything to do with Hive Fest. That's Roland. So you can shoot them a message on their website, or you can find them on Twitter. Digital performances maybe will be a thing. And if there is a VR aspect, I would definitely, if you're a creator on chain, reach out, see what's happening. But there is one more place and one more big party. And if you hadn't noticed, there is a new channel over on the Splinterlands server. If you haven't seen this, then maybe go poking around, because there is a thing that is up and coming, a whole nother party. And if you haven't seen this, then this might knock you off your feet. But it is just starting to be rumbled about in different places. It is, in fact, Splinterfest. So I'll be there as well. If you are looking for a place to be in October and you are wanting to celebrate one of the coolest dApps on the chain and one of the sort of most immersive parts of the Hive experience, and you love gaming and you love everything else, then boy, oh boy, I got news for you. Splinterfest is going to be in Vegas in October, and I will be there as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you soon. Now, knowing that we are almost at the end of the show, I want to get one more good track in. I want to play something else from Canada, given it's a Canadian weekend here. It'll be American week and weekend in a couple days. Let me still have this. I want to play you guys a track called Risking My Life by Das Mortal. He's an artist from back east. He's a babe. So much good music. I want to play that for you guys, and then I'm going to jump back. We'll talk about whatever I missed, and then we'll say goodbye. Now, just a gentle reminder, if you're interested in the Hive ecosystem and you don't know what it is, reach out to me. If you are in the Hive ecosystem and you need help with something, reach out to me. If you want to be connected to someone else or a thing or a stuff, part of an event, whatever, let me know. I will do my best to help you. It's what I'm here for. But on Saturdays, what I'm here for is to talk shit and play synthwave. All right, there you go. One of my favorite albums. Yes, I turned it upside down because I'm out of water. That's how hot I am. That is a good indicator that it's time for the show to be over. Whenever you are live on stream or doing whatever it is that you love to do out here in the summertime, hey, just remember, kids, stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water. It's good for you. I am hot and miserable. So with all that being said, we have basically come to the end of the show for today. That is one of my favorite albums of all time. There she is over there, and I showed you guys that sick bubblegum blue record there, looking real. Oh yeah, no, hot as in warm, sir. I am warm. It's a little bit warm here. You could tell by how flushed I am. But yeah, Das Mortal, always loved, one of my absolute favorite albums of all time. It is so good. It's great everything music. Now, with that, we have come to the end of the show. People are hopping. I haven't even said goodbye, but yeah, goodbye, friends. I'll be back next on Thursday for Full Force Radio. Of course, you can find my whole schedule at mspwaves.com. And I am making a concerted effort to get a second show site up for CyberBuzz and finishing off crimsonclad.com because it's just been a placeholder for so long. And people need places to go to get information and stuff and things and whatever. I don't even know what you need, but I'll figure it out and I'll give it to you. So, with that being said, there are a number of parties coming up. I'm looking forward to spending time with the community. I am also looking forward to figuring out what it is you guys want to discuss and how to do that on a level that makes you all very happy. And next week, we will go back to some of the more retro-future-y topics. We'll weave the blockchain in and out. When I first started this show, it was all Hive all the time. I was always teaching about the tech, about how things worked, about, you know, the block production round today was a throwback. That used to be a topic that we talked about a lot here on the show. So today was nostalgic and awesome. I always love talking about Hive. Feel free to bring it up anytime. But otherwise, yeah, come join me. We talk tech, we talk philosophy, we talk the retro future, dystopian and utopian, whatever that might look like for you. We talk about future design and we listen to cool music from space and from 1980s LA. Yeah, stuff and things and stuff and things and things and stuff. Exactly. So with that being said, I'm coming to an end today, but of course, just remember, if you are looking for more entertainment, you can check out everything that MSP Waves has to offer. A number of the people who are here right now have cool live streams and radio shows of their own, and you will find them at mspwaves.com/schedule. Otherwise, yeah, I guess if you are on the Twitch, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say, hey, if you can subscribe. That'd be really cool. I'm going to try and entertain you. I'm also going to try to be able to pay for a meal. Everything I do hemorrhages money. Help! All right, forget about it. I'll see you guys next, yeah? Next Thursday? Next week? Next Saturday? Who knows? But I will see you. Bye-bye.